Hello family, my name is Chris, I am your home gamer dad, and today we're going to be taking a look at a Kickstarter page that has been advertising for the past few months. I've been seeing it pop up a lot on my social media pages, and from what I've been seeing, it was something that I was like, hey, that's pretty cool, some nice artwork from this, I wonder what this is more about, but it wasn't until the Kickstarter page finally went live and the campaign got going that I was able to not only dive deeper into how the game played, but the lore that inspired it, and that, my friends, is one of the main hooks for me for this particular game. So, let's go ahead and defend our mansion against invading monsters with the ever-shifting walls and doors, determining where we can and cannot go. Today I'm going to tell you about why I backed Weirdwood Manor from Greyridge Games. Greyridge Games is new to me. I'm pretty sure this is either their first game in general or their first Kickstarter. I know it's definitely their first Kickstarter game. And right off the hop, the way that they present the game and everything itself is absolutely amazing. I am not familiar with the book series that this is based off of, which is like the Weirdwood series. This is something I probably would like to start reading, especially after seeing the way this game works. Kind of how that worked with the Reckoners over there. I didn't know anything about the book series until I got the game and started playing it, and then I read the book series, and it just made the game better. So I can imagine that this is going to be the same thing for Weirdwood Manor. Once I play it, it's going to be awesome. Once I read the books and play it again, it's going to be even better. So why don't we go ahead and jump on over to the Kickstarter page. We'll go, as usual, from top to bottom, straight down. I'll talk about all the different aspects of what it is that Greyridge Games is presenting for the game, and my reasoning and my opinions of it, about why I decided to put my money into it, to pledge the full amount, well, sort of full amount, you'll see when we get over there, and then also why I chose to add this game to my collection, and how come I'm so excited for it. Welcome to Weirdwood! Enter the magical world of Weirdwood Manor, where the mysterious and dangerous realms of the Fae intersects with the everyday world of the real. So that's basically your two planes of existence right now for Weirdwood, and I guess it's a book series. I'm sure there's probably more, but that's just what this goes into. The land of the Fae, which is a lot of mystical and magical monsters, good, bad, everything in between. And then the real, which I guess is our world of sorts. And I feel like Weirdwood Manor sits somewhere in between, because we are, I think we play as like normal people, but with special gifts and powers that pull from the Fae world in order to be able to defend it or whatever. I bet the books have something to do with like monsters and everything trying to get into the real world from the world of the Fae, and then the wizards and other characters and everything trying to push them back. At least that's what I'm getting just from looking through the storyline of everything from the game. As you can see just right here, it looks pretty involved. Like the board itself looks very, very bright and crazy on that. I've watched a few playthroughs of this, and it's easy to read once it's in the table, but you just have to get through the iconography first, which isn't even that much, but with any game, there's always that learning curve to begin with. Right off the bat, whenever it comes to me backing certain projects, I do have my checklist that I like to go through. If everything gets checked, then that's almost a guarantee back for me. If certain things, on and off and everything, there's some exceptions to the rules here and there. However, for this one, we have 1 to 5 players. There is a dedicated solo mode to this. I think it's more or less just playing two-handed, where you get to play as two different characters. There isn't like a specific solo rules. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. But the fact that I can play it by myself, absolutely fantastic. Pretty long runtime, 90 minutes to 120 minutes, so an hour and a half to 2 hours, give or take. I'm sure that's going to be longer if you're new to the game, and shorter depending on how fast you learn these things. And then it is 100% cooperative. So it is whoever you have on the table with you versus the enemy within the game. And that's probably what makes it a one-player game, because you're cooperating with yourself as opposed to like needing somebody else, but I'm okay with that. I have plenty of games that are 100% cooperative that I will play on my own all the time. While doing my research about how this game plays and what can I expect from it and everything like that, it was very interesting to see the way that they took the various mechanics from the game and incorporated them into it by either changing them around a little bit or adding something completely new to the game that I've personally have never seen before. I'm sure you guys may have seen something like this, and I'm guaranteed, tell me more down in the comment section below. But for me, it was really cool the way that it all worked together thematically into the game. One of my big check marks when actually buying a game is theme. I love seeing how a game plays basically within itself, like Final Girl is one of my favorite games here. you are simulating a 1980s horror film or whatever it may be, something like that. And it feels that way as you're playing it. Weirdwood Manor has this really cool time mechanic where things will constantly change and shift as the day goes on, and after so many days goes by, if you haven't beaten the bad, big bad boss or whatever, you immediately lose. And the time mechanic for here, which is mentioned here or whatever, and I'm going to explain a little bit more as I go down, really does that. It really watches as the day goes on and you flip the rings around, and depending on how far you move the rings, different rooms will open up and everything, and it's just cool to see how the manor changes day to day, hour to hour. Very awesome. I do like that the stretch goals are listed early in the campaign, so you're not scrolling all the way down to the bottom to see exactly what it is that you have to unlock next, how much further you got to go, what you've already unlocked, things along that ways. And it's really cool the way that they have all this laid out. Now, the stretch goals themselves are pretty basic. There's a lot of just extra stuff that you would add on. So there are 3 different rings to the game. Each ring has its own set of room tiles to it as a base game. Of course, with the Kickstarter, you're going to get extra rooms. You got extra rooms for the outer, middle, and inner right there. And then, of course, as you go on, more will be unlocked. The quest expansion is only through Kickstarter. I'll talk about that when we get to it. But it's more quest cards then. Companion cards are other characters that you can find within the mansion that come and help you. So these are more companion cards. Basically, just adds to more variety to the game because you're getting more added on to whatever the base is. So now every time you play, you can draw. You're going to be drawing things in different orders. You're going to be drawing things you've never seen before, drawing things in different combinations, and it's just going to make each game its own unique, experience. Can't go wrong with upgraded cards. Everything gets upgraded. They feel nicer. They look nicer. And right now we have 3 more here, but there's going to be a lot more that are going to be unlocked. Again, you probably have about 2.5 weeks left within this campaign when this goes live. As you can see, a lot of stuff has already been unlocked. The campaign has already been live for maybe about 2 weeks now already, so about halfway through. And there is still so much more to go. This is going to skyrocket. Guaranteed you're going to get to the 300K mark. And this is in Canadian, by the way, so just FYI, that's what the CAD there. If you're in America, you're going to see how much is made, and the numbers may not match up because it's calculating it in Canadian dollars. But it's an easy conversion. You can figure it out from there. Almost 100% guaranteed it's going to hit this, plus who knows what else is going to be there. Very excited for it because I love stretch goals. I love seeing all the additional stuff that could be made available for the game right then and there with the money that I've put into it. And then, of course, never make these 100% exclusive. I do recommend Greyridge Games make these available for purchase at some point in the future. Doesn't have to be right away, but eventually, maybe when Season 2 of this game launches, if you're going to do that. Why back now? That's always the question everybody has when looking at any type of crowdfunding project, whether it be on Kickstarter or GameFound or wherever it is you happen to be. Why should I back this project right now rather than waiting for a retail release to come out? Because that would save me on shipping depending on where you are in the world and yada, yada, yada. Well, first and foremost, you definitely get this quest expansion, which I have talked about before. This is just something extra that you can add to the game in order to be able to gain more resources and more abilities that you can use in order to be able to move around the mansion a little bit more, do what you got to do in order to fight the enemies, things along that ways. I think it's just a cool thing to have because then it just makes your personal experience with the game compared to everyone else even a little bit more interesting because you put the quest down, you have something that you specifically have to do. So now on your turn, rather than sitting there going, man, there's a million things I need to do. What should I do first? Oh, my quest says I should do this. Why don't I do that first? And it kind of helps streamline your decisions a little bit more. Second thing, as we just talked about, would be the stretch goals, all the new rooms, all the new cards, anything like that that come out. You're going to get them through the Kickstarter right here, right now by backing this game. Again, hopefully these would be available later to those that missed this campaign so they're not missing out on, the way all these extra things and whatnot. That's just also from me. I like being a completionist. I like having all the things, especially when I find the game for the first time, and not being able to get stuff is very, very frustrating. You guys, people out there that know my channel, know my grievance with the alligator from Resident Evil 2, which I did order, by the way, and I did get that. best pricing. You do get a little bit of a discount from this, getting it through the Kickstarter. Now, granted, this is going to kind of compensate itself with the shipping costs, so in a sense, you're really just paying for the shipping with the discount you're getting, give or take. Some are better than others, and you'll see it as we go along. But it is nice that they do drop the price down a little bit for the Kickstarter as compared to what it's going to be when it hits the shelves, regular MSRP. And then right here, special acknowledgement. Each backer from the campaign will get their name printed in the rulebook. This is something personally for me is like a hidden check mark of sorts for my campaigns. I don't know why I love this so much, but I like my name appearing on just the various things that I have. I don't know why. It's just like, it may be just my own personal feeling that I've showed support for this, and this is me, look at that. The problem is, it's like, I have a very generic name. So Resident Evil 3, for example, I have the name printed on the side of one of the boxes, and my name is Chris, okay? And even my last name is extremely common amongst, and if you actually look at it, there's like 5 Chris's in a row, and I think there's like 2 of them that have even my last name. So I look at it, I'm like, man, that's not exactly, that's me, but that's me somewhere. I think for this one, if I'm allowed to, I'm just gonna put Home Gamer Dad, so I can find myself immediately. That would be awesome to see that on the box if forever be in print for it and everything. But it's just so cool to me to see that pop up there. Now, there was an early bird special, which I'm going to go over a little bit, that I'm hoping maybe if Greyridge Games has an extra space available, they can put me into that, which would be awesome. But if not, and I'm cool like putting it here in the rule book. So, how does it play? So we're going to do a very quick gameplay overview using the animations here in order to kind of get you an idea of what happens. Again, I've watched a few different playthroughs of this, so I kind of get a good idea how it is. But for me, the best way to learn is to play, so I'd rather have it in front of me to do something in order to know for sure. But from here, on your turn, whoever's turn it is, they're going to play a card from their hand. Each one of the 6 characters that come in the game has their own unique deck of cards. I think it's 10 cards that everybody has the same, and then 3 unique for that particular character. Again, asymmetry. Fantastic. Love it. You pick one card you're going to play, and you're going to play it to one of the 4 times a day, which is like morning, afternoon, evening, and night. And whenever you play it, you turn the dial to represent that time of day. And you can stop it at any time of that time of day. So that means the action that you're taking is taking X amount of time in order to do. Really cool way to do that. So you play that, you then move the clock. There you go. See, so whatever you played, so this one I think is morning, so they played something to the afternoon, so it moved to the first space of the afternoon. You can keep moving it in other spaces on the afternoon if you want to gain access to certain doors, because if you notice, if you look like right here, this door is open, but if you moved it here to like this particular morning spot, the door would be closed, so you wouldn't have access to that room there. The one thing that does worry me a little bit is getting trapped in rooms. I know that there's a teleport feature to this where you can bounce out of rooms, but I don't know how often that skill like actually appears within the game. Like if I got trapped in this room and it was my turn, say this was closed and this side was closed, how am I going to be able to get out of it? But I'm sure that the developers have figured that out. So here's your example right here. You moved it, the character couldn't get out of the room. Like they're up stuck, but then now that it's open, it was able to move and get into a different room. So it's a really cool mechanic to it because it's like a puzzle of sorts. So you want to move the pieces around because like I need to get to that room, but in order to get to that room, this needs to be open and this needs to be open. So you got to like maneuver around the board in order to be able to get to where you got to get to. And also it increases time, and if time goes too fast and too long or whatever, then you lose. After you play your cards down, you perform your actions by moving to your various rooms. You walk into a room, you gain the benefits of the room. Unless there's an enemy in it, then you have to fight the enemy in order to gain the benefit of the room. You can forge dice on your turn. So these are all extra actions that you can do, just whatever. If you have the resources in order to play, you forge dice. The way you use dice is through battling. So dice can either do a basic attack, defend yourself, or trigger your special ability. So the more dice you have, the better chances you have of being able to do all that stuff. And each one of the 3 colored dice specialize in one of those 3. You can recruit companions, which gives you more spaces to put cards down on your turn. And then they also do special abilities, so that it just increases your uniqueness as a character. Speaking of which, unique powers, trigger unique powers if you have the resources and whatnot to do that. There's so much that you can do on your turn. Like, you play the card first, and then it's just like, do stuff until you run out or until you are done, because you can finish your turn at any time. And I love that. Each decision you make in this game will have an impact on future turns, and it's just so cool being able to sit there and think about all your different options and then like, what is the best way to go about it? This type of mental thinking on the game is like another reason why I love it. So as you earn experience, you can move these little cubes up each one of these individual tracks. You can do them in any way, in any order you want, so long as you're moving from left to right. And as you pass by certain symbols, you're going to be able to gain whatever benefit it is. There's a lot of spaces here. There's a lot of experience for each one. So let me tell you, out of all the games I've played, yes, I've seen people get to the end of the track, but I've never seen anybody even get close to finishing all 3 tracks. So you got plenty to work with there. And then the monster axe. The monster is going to be moving around the board, summoning more scarabs. Those yellow things there are pretty much the minions of the game. Summoning more scarabs in order to do stuff. Trying to find Lady Weirdwood, who is like the owner of the house or the head of the house or whatever, and trying to take her down in one way, shape, or form. Another great thing about this, there are 3 different monsters that you can fight in this game. Each one does their own unique thing, and each one has to be tackled out a different way. So just another way that increases the replayability of this game by not only having different characters that you can play as, different layouts on the board, because the rooms are always going to be different, but then also what monster or enemy you're going to be fighting for that particular game. Continuing down our page, let's go to the pledge levels. You have your standard edition at $60 USD. That is $20 off the MSRP. That just comes with the game, all your basic components, and your main board. This is the one that I actually backed, the deluxe edition, for $85. So another check mark for me is the possibly best version of the game that I can get for under $100. Yes, please. Thank you. I will take that 100%, because not only are my characters, instead of cardboard standees here, acrylic standees, which I'm in love with acrylic standees. I have a few games like that and they are amazing, but all of the other components themselves are just upgrades. They're nicer, they're thicker, they look cooler, they have more details on them. They're amazing. There was an early bird pledge that, again, I did not know about because this was funded in the first 15 minutes. So people came in and like gobbled this all up. But the first 500 backers, I think it was, they get their name, let's see, following, I think it's like on the game board itself. So it's a big circle. If you flip it over, you know, that's where all the names are. I would have done this. I so would have done this if it was available. I absolutely would have done it. And again, a lot of you out there, most of you in fact, and I've seen people on boards and on the comment section and everything, they're like, oh, that's a stupid reward. Why would anybody want that? I love it. I think it's really cool, and it's really not any different. It took me a little while bouncing back and forth between deluxe and early bird to be like, they're the same price. What am I getting different? Like, what's the difference? The difference is that your name is on the game board rather than in the instruction manual. And I, again, 100% would have done that just because I would have been on the game board. That's where I am right there. And I definitely would have put my name as Home Gamer Dad just so I could find myself faster. Maybe Chris Home Gamer Dad, depending on how many characters they allow me to do. But yeah, so, you know, hey, Greyridge, you got some room in there? You got a room for one more? That'd be awesome. So, what's in the box? Obviously, the game board itself, as I said, was a circle, so all the names will be written around that and whatever. You snap that together. I like how it's not just a solid piece, that it's 2 separate pieces, because that means it fits into the box a little bit better. Watch out for the connector pieces or whatever. A lot of games that I have stuff like that, they start to break off and, you know, after multiple use. I don't know what the quality of this is because I don't have a version in front of me, but I can imagine that they've taken that into consideration as well. You have the rings that go around it. The one is the days, the one is the time of day. So as these rotate around the board, again, this opens and shuts doors that you have access to as you go through the game. Very cool the way they do that. All your room pieces, all your companion pieces, and your 6 playable characters. Now, for those of you that are familiar with Weirdwood Manor, that have actually read the books, I should say, let me know your opinion of it down in the comments below, because I'd love to hear what you guys think of it. Is this something worth checking out? Is this a cool story in order to go ahead and start reading, in order to prep myself? Maybe I should read it before I get the game. I want you guys to let me know that down below. But we have Bailey Breyer, who looks like a rabbit person, which is really cool. 4 years, fuzzy, smart attitude is a Stitch. She is a Burbot. Enough said. There you go. Sekhmet Safar. I know she's more of a fierce attacker, a fierce warrior, as they say here. A lot of battle instincts for her. Oliver Griffin, a sorcerer, it looks like, a wielder of great magic, future greatness, very cool. Wally Cooper, these names are really awesome, by the way. An honest thief. Cecil May, displays worlds and intellect matched by a sorcerer's magic. And Eugene Donalds, MacGyver yearns for tech. It's so cool. So there you go. These are your main 6 characters that you get to play as in the game. And again, each one of them has 10 cards that are like spread out through all, like 10 of the same cards. Every character has these same 10 cards, and then 3 of their own unique cards, which is really cool. And each one of them has it looks like 3 unique abilities each. So asymmetry all the way, fantastic, love it. And then you have 3 monsters that you play against: the Chaos Org, the Min Wraith, and Theris the Dark Mage. So Min is basically their word for mana. Just FYI, it took me a little while to realize that, but mana and Min synonymous within this world. Other things you're going to find: Lady Weirdwood standee. These are cards that you would put on top of cards that you've already played in order to boost their abilities. Your dice, your scarabs, these are your minions again. Knowledge is a resource. Min, mana, same thing, is a resource. Power tokens, that's a resource. Tracking tokens, all this kind of other stuff. Deluxe edition comes with acrylic standees. Mwah, beautiful, love it, chef's kiss. Better tokens, thicker, nicer looking, way more details like the scarabs. The mini quest expansions, as I was talking about before, you take a quest, you place it on top of whatever time of day it is, and unfortunately that card takes up that time of day. But if you manage to succeed and do whatever the requirements are, you immediately resolve it, gain its rewards, and then that spot is open. You can then possibly take another quest card to do it again, or you can wait until later. Awesome, nice little addition. You don't have to play with it. Probably recommend not playing with it first off, but definitely play with it, in future turns and future games when you're a lot more familiar with it. And then, of course, you can always go through and watch all of the wonderful videos and people that put out how to play the game, and you can download the rules and play it on Tabletop Simulator right here, right now, to get a better feel for it. Continuing down, previews and reviews. This is what I've been watching a lot of in order to really get an idea of how the game is played. So many of these are out there from great channels on YouTube. Highly recommend pretty much subscribing to almost all of them that are there. And then, of course, seeing what they have. There are no add-ons to the game. I'm not going to read on that or whatever. But there are no add-ons to the game because they'd rather just kind of concentrate on making the best product possible for all you guys. And then so this way we don't have to spend forever in order to get the game. And I'll go over the timeline in a little bit. Again, there are still about 2 weeks left of this campaign. I'm okay with them not adding in any more characters. There's 6 playable characters. That's awesome. That's great. You're going to play at least 2 characters every turn. No matter how many people are playing with you, that's fine. You're going to play 1 boss. I really wish that at some point, maybe like halfway through or closer to the end, maybe a week left of the campaign, they introduce a 4th monster. That would be awesome. Just something to kind of revitalize it. Because once a campaign has been going on for quite a while, you get like that major boost right in the beginning, and then it dies down, and then you're supposed to get a major boost at the end. That's the general trend when it comes to Kickstarter. I think that they should introduce something really cool at the end of this, if it's ready, if they're confident with it, of a 4th boss, just to add that much more replayability to it. Another boss, another one to learn, another one to gain, all that like, oh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Oh, that's so cool. Look at that. Greyridge Games, watch this. Just saying, or whatever. But no matter what, I am looking forward to all additions to this game that you guys come out with, even though I don't have it already. As you can probably tell, I'm already really excited for this. Anywho, let's go into the shipping. We know how it is. So, this isn't anywhere near as bad as I've seen it over the last few months. In fact, a lot of these numbers seem like they're going down. It's a big game. It looks pretty, I don't want to say super chunky, but there is some chunk to it with all the different pieces and everything. So I can understand the box being fairly big and thick and probably a bit heavy. $19, doesn't matter what version you have. Awesome, love it. For United States, or at least continental, which is me, Alaska, Hawaii, okay, that's expensive. I get it. There's a lot going to it or whatever. But like, even the ones that normally, from what I've seen, like Australia, where are we? Australia and New Zealand aren't really that bad. Other countries, China, Europe, these are not the worst shipping costs ever. And then if you buy the game now through the Kickstarter, if you put your pledge in, you're getting that bit of a discount. So kind of offsets it a little bit. And then the timeline, shipping and timeline. So here we are. Again, as always, when it comes to timelines, take these with a grain of salt, only because production always, something could happen with it. There always could be a delay with the ships coming in or something along that ways. A lot of it is not their fault. Keep that in mind. This may get pushed. Greyridge Games would most likely not be at fault on this. I can almost guarantee it would. They wouldn't be, because you can't control what happens sometimes overseas, with whatever factory that they have producing these things. So you guys are going to be doing a great job trying to keep on top of it. And as long as they maintain communication with us, I think that's perfectly fine also. Fulfillment would be pretty much a year from now. Yay, in time for my birthday for next year. Awesome, amazing. That again sounds plausible. 1 year between when a campaign ends to when it's delivered sounds very, very reasonable. I don't know how the production of this, I guess because there's a lot of little pieces and everything like that. You got to make sure everything is correct and they all look right and all the details are set. So I can't see this coming any earlier, but hey, I'm looking forward to this a year from now when I celebrate my birthday next year. I will have an awesome game in order to be able to play and have all my friends and everything come over for a birthday game night inside of Weirdwood Manor. And of course the team at Greyridge Games, you guys are doing really cool. I am looking forward to seeing what you all have to put out going forward. You've done a really great job with this particular game, and I'm really curious on what your next ideas are going to be, what your next games are going to be, what other types of IPs you might have in the loop that you could possibly make other games out of and everything like that. I would love to hear more and see more from you guys, because that's awesome and beautiful, beautiful game. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. And before I wrap it up, just to show you where it currently sits right now, again, you got to go the Canadian dollars or whatever in order to really know where it is in terms of like stretch goal wise and everything. But here you go. By the time you see this, obviously going to be less than 17 days, but still plenty of time to go. Lots and lots of backers. I think this will get, well, it might get into 4,000s by the time this is all done. And again, this is going to go up quite a bit between now and the end of the campaign. So keep an eye on that. Go ahead and favorite. And then, of course, check it out. Check out some of the videos and see if this is something that you would like to back. And there you have it. That is why I backed Weirdwood Manor. It's a single player experience plus up to 5 players, which is awesome in order to have that type of co-op experience. Under 100 bucks. It looks beautiful. It plays pretty cool from what I've seen. There's a lot of strategy and a lot of thought process to it. There's a different way that you're going to play every time. Asymmetry, definitely a big check mark in my book in terms of like something that I would absolutely love to play. This hits a lot of the great points, and it also gets me interested in a brand new series and a brand new IP that I've never heard of before that I'm really curious about jumping into. So with that said, guys, let me know what you think of Weirdwood Manor down in the comment section below. Is this something, again, have you known about this series? And for those of you that have, I've asked plenty of questions throughout this video. But if not, are you interested now? Is this something that you're going to probably look a little bit further into? Curious about the game, curious about how it plays, curious how it actually incorporates itself into the world of Weirdwood, which again, looks pretty cool to me with all the characters and everything, and from what I'm seeing on comments, people are starting to recognize everything, so awesome, cool, amazing. Let me know what you think down in the comment sections. Guys, thank you so much again for checking out this video. Remember that this is always my opinion when it comes to stuff like this. This is my views, this is my perspective on what I can see from the videos, from the Kickstarter page. I don't have anything in front of me. I don't have anything to actually hold and touch in order to be able to feel and see exactly how it plays. So this is just my first impressions from it, but it was enough in order to get me to pledge the game and to support not only the game itself, but this production company, the designers, things along that ways. As always, you guys have been amazing. Take care of yourselves and each other. We are family forever, gaming together. Regardless if we're lost inside of a manor or not, we will always find a way in order to draw in the powers of the Min and cast ourselves to victory. You guys have a good one, and I will see you in the next one.